How's it going, people? And welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are keeping well. Yes, as you guys saw, massive breaking news in regards to the Noni Madueke deal to Arsenal. We had a massive dropped bomb, a bomb that was basically dropped on us literally last night around 10 to around mid, I'll say about around 11 p.m., give or take, half 10, 11 p.m. last night, UK time. Fabrizio Romano basically dropped a bomb on all of us, stating that Arsenal have reached a full agreement with Chelsea to sign Noni Madueke. I'll put it basically here right now. As you guys can see, Fabrizio Romano was one of the first journalists to basically drop this news exclusively on Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Here we go. As soon as you hear those three words, you know basically it's a done deal. It's concluded, basically done. Fees agreed in the excess of £50 million with add-ons, included green light from Chelsea. Noni Madueke already agreed a 5-year deal at Arsenal days ago, and he's now set to complete the move basically to Arsenal. And obviously that was also supported by Sammy Mockbell of BBC, stating Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle to sign Noni Madueke from Chelsea in a deal worth just over £50 million. Full details to follow, but expectation is that the deal is set to be completed, personal terms already agreed, and then followed by the Athletic as well, just to basically double down and confirm by Dave Ornstein. Arsenal close to full agreement with Chelsea's Noni Madueke. It's reported, obviously, that Arsenal are close to reaching a full agreement with Chelsea over a deal expected to be worth around £52 million for Noni Madueke, the 23-year-old has already agreed personal terms with Arsenal over a proposed 5-year deal, with the winger having prioritized the North London side over many other options. So, guys, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. It's out there. It's been agreed. Basically, it is incoming. And this news basically dropped just after I finished my live stream last night. I finished my live stream. I literally clicked end stream right now, checked on my phone. Boom. Here we go. Noni Madueke to Arsenal confirmed. It's going to be happening. £52 million. Here we go. And I was just like, are you having a laugh? And I think this is one of those deals where, especially, it sent a lot of shockwaves among the fan base. A lot of us don't actually understand this deal, don't understand this transfer, but unfortunately, we will have no choice but to get behind this deal. It is what it is. It's going to become an Arsenal player. If you're an Arsenal fan, you're going to have to support the club. You're going to have to support the players that plays for the club. However, when you dip down into this deal, you look at it and you're thinking £52 million for Noni Madueke, whereas you look at Mohamed Kudus that is going to Spurs for £55 million, and also Spurs also triggering Morgan Gibbs White release clause of £60 million. And you try to make a comparison because we're very used to making comparisons when it comes to players, their abilities, and especially when they play in similar positions, just like Elanga and Noni Madueke. Pretty much play the same position, in my opinion. And you look at the output in regards to both players. And I'm of the opinion that Elanga had a better season than Noni Madueke did last season for their respectable clubs. When you look at what Noni Madueke did for Chelsea and what Elanga did for Nottingham Forest. Obviously, he's on his way to Newcastle at the moment, but you look at it and you're thinking to yourself, I would have rather had Elanga in this team. If that's basically the option that we had or we have, I would have gone for Elanga. However, Arsenal have opted for Noni Madueke. How this deal materialize or how this transfers materialize, only God knows, because there's a lot of us thinking, how? How did we get to this point? Because we're just thinking about, like, we went from obviously being linked with the likes of Rodrigo, Eze, Gyökeres, Sesko, and then all of a sudden, Noni Madueke came out of woodwork, and you're thinking, and this basically has been done. How is this done before Eze? How is this done before Gyökeres? How is this done before a potential transfer for Rodrigo? We're not saying Rodrigo is going to get done, but the fact is, we're expecting to get Eze done, and we're expecting to get Gyökeres done. So, how did this come about? Because I really don't know. And if you guys know, please let me know in the comments, because I am here scratching my head and I'm like, this is very underwhelming. A lot of us have been expecting to get a striker, a reputable striker that we like, you know, is going to come in the preseason and have a good preseason with Arsenal, and then we'll be ready for the season opener against Manchester United. But we're getting Noni Madueke. And the likelihood is, not even the likelihood is, what is going to happen is he's not going to be available for Arsenal for at least till the end of August, beginning of September, because he's going to need to go on a holiday. He hasn't had a holiday, summer holiday, like the majority of players that has not featured in a Club World Cup already. There's been a lot of players that's had to participate in a Club World Cup and they haven't had a summer holiday. A lot of the players are back in pre-season, as you guys have seen. Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Saliba, Gabriel. A lot of them had a good summer break. Odegaard, Havertz, all of them. Even our new signings, Zubimendi, Norgard, and Kepa, they're amongst the pre-season squad at the moment. So Noni Madueke, he's not going to be joining up with this squad or with this team for at least another month, in my opinion. He's going to need to go and have a summer break. So for 50 million, that is not the issue here. That's not the issue here. And I think what is really um underwhelming and sort of surprising for a lot of Arsenal fans is the fact that it's another Chelsea player. That's the first and foremost coming to Arsenal Football Club, and it's the price tag. And don't get me wrong, Noni Madueke don't set the price tag. The price is the price. Probably it's club to club. And at the end of the day, if the transfer is, oh, Chelsea are saying he's worth this much, do you want him or not? No? Okay, cool. There's somebody out there that potentially want him and willing to pay that price. And there's this thing about how Arteta prefers and he likes Premier League proven players, hence the reason why he's going for Noni Madueke. And by going for Noni Madueke and potentially reaching an agreement with Chelsea now raises the questions of what's going to be happening with Eberechi Eze, because we've heard and there's been speculations to suggest that this has no impact in the Eberechi Eze's transfer. This also has no impact in the signing for Gyökeres, for example. But ultimately, we just can't help but think as fans on the outside, not knowing the ins and out of the club, not knowing the ins and out of the transfers, how much effect is this going to have on the Eze deal? How much effect is this going to have on the Gyökeres deal or potential Rodrigo? And I think we can all agree that Noni Madueke is a good player. What does he level up? Is he a level up to what we already have? Is he taking us to the next level? Is he that answer that's potentially going to get us over the line? Because we've come second 3 years in a row and we're just on the cusp of getting it over the line. And I personally, let me know what you guys think. I personally don't believe that Noni Madueke is that guy for 52 million pounds price tag. I'm sorry, because yes, and I put my hands up. Yes, we can argue and say, but we've been needing a backup for Bukayo Saka. Yes, a backup, but he's not probably coming in as a backup. He's probably been given reassurance that he's going to play for 52 million pounds. He's not coming in as a backup. He's coming in to challenge Bukayo Saka. He's coming in to play. But then it's a case of, okay, is he playing on the right? Is he playing on the left? We've still got Trossard. We've still got Martinelli on that left. So they're kind of covered, but there's speculations to suggest that Trossard might be leaving. There's Fenerbahce in the mix. Obviously, Martinelli, there's been reports suggesting that Saudi are in the club, but obviously that's been basically been said that's not the case by Fabrizio Romano, saying as far as they're concerned, they haven't heard anything in regards to Saudi coming in from Martinelli. So it's safe to say right now that Martinelli is still going to be an Arsenal player come the end of the transfer window season. But it's a case of, so what's going to be happening? Are we still going to get an Eze? Are we still going to get a Gyökeres? Because if we don't, I think this fan is going to go into a meltdown. Noni Madueke to Arsenal. What do I think about it? I'm not totally against it. And I think what it is just by with a lot of Arsenal fans, we're against the price tag. And as I've said, he doesn't make up the price tag. He's a good player. Yes, I've watched videos of him. I've watched compilations of him, but he's not the finished article. Has he still got a lot to go? Has he still got a lot to give? That is the question. He's fast. Yes, he's pacey. He gives us a different dimension. And like I said, we've always wanted a backup for Saka for a long time, especially after last season where he got injured for like 4 months and he was out. And having someone like a Madueke potentially would have, would have maybe eased the pain a little bit. But as you know, as Arsenal fans, we're quite loyal, and it's one of those things where Bukayo Saka is one of our own. So he's not coming in to displace Bukayo Saka. He's coming in as a backup. And for 52 million pounds backup, that's quite expensive in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, because honestly, I don't know about this signing. And I'm hoping he proves me wrong. And as I've said, it's one of those things where we're just going to have to get behind him. We'll have no other choice but to get behind him once this transfer has been completed and it comes to Arsenal. They said obviously a medical is set to be scheduled imminently, and then obviously then he's gonna then sign for the Arsenal. But then my question is as well, because Chelsea have made it into the finals of the Club World Cup, is he gonna feature? Because the last game, it was quite telling, because he didn't start. Normally he would have started, but however, he didn't start. He came on as a sub. In my opinion, he didn't have the greatest of performances in that game, in the last game that they played when they made the final. And then, you look at it and think, is he going to play on Sunday in the Club World Cup final? Because there's a potential that he might get injured if he plays. Or is it a case of Chelsea are going to be like, listen, we've agreed a deal with Arsenal. We know you're going. You've agreed personal terms. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave you out of this one. Uh, and that's what it is. He's going to have to be left out because you don't want to risk an injury for a £52 million signing. You can't come to a new club injured, and potentially that transfer might get breaking down. But yeah, listen, I don't know. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm in two minds about this. I'm not over the moon, but I'm not necessarily depleted and unhappy about it because we've always wanted, like I said from the get go, a backup for Bukayo Saka. We're getting that in Noni Madueke, but I'm not. This is not something that's getting me off my seat. That's making me overly excited. Once you get me a Rodrigo, once you get me an Eze, once you get me a Yorkeres, then we're talking. Then come back to me and listen. I'll be the most happiest man on this earth. And I'm sure there's a lot of Arsenal fans that will potentially follow. But yeah, this is it. Breaking news. Noni Madueke to Arsenal. Here we go. It's been confirmed. £52 million signing from Chelsea to Arsenal. Another Chelsea player to Arsenal. He's going to be the second one in the same transfer window, and he's going to be the third one in about 3 years. God help us. And I just feel like, does Chelsea have something on Arsenal? Does Chelsea have something? They must have something on us. Is it money laundering? I don't get it. Because for us to keep buying their players and helping them out with their financial fair play rules and their PSR, I honestly don't get it. And if we're getting on a Madueke, this is telling me that we have money to spend because we still need to get an Eze and a Gyökeres and a Rodrigo. And I'll keep saying it. Until they get that over the line, I'm going to keep saying it. So this is showing me that we have money to spend and they better spend it. But let me know what your thoughts are in the comments as per usual. I'll be back with my Gooner Press later on today in regards to all the latest transfer news linked to Arsenal Football Club. And until then, share your comments in the comment section. Let me know what your thoughts are. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way in helping me out. It is free, guys. Help a brother out. And I'll be back later on with another video. Have a good one, Gooners. Don't get too stressed out.